I'm doing a Q&A for 20,000 subscribers. Everyone has asked me questions on my Discord server. And if you go to the description right now, there's a link to my Discord server. You can click on that, join the Discord, and you can get like more communication with me. There's 1,000 people talking about self-improvement here. You get to ask me these questions, which I make videos about. So all of these questions have been posted there. The first question is by Blob. What inspired you to make your channel? Congrats on 20k, by the way. Thank you. What inspired me to make my channel? So I've had this channel for a while. Like, this is the YouTube channel I made when I was like in 2013 or something. But I posted videos for the first time in September 2019, and I started posting because I just wanted to make online income. I wanted to potentially grow something online that would stop me from needing to work a full-time job. So that's why I originally started. And it was purely just like fitness based videos back then. So I remember I made a couple of videos like this, just wearing the same bathrobe, and I made a video which was a bit different. So instead of just, talking like this, I made it almost like a PowerPoint presentation with like pictures and everything and different videos coming in. And that video just blew up. So that's probably why you're watching this video right now. If you haven't already, you should scroll down to the bottom of my channel and watch those original videos. There's like 4 or 5, and a couple of them are pretty funny. And I'm surprised that none of the boys have actually went to see them, because I think you guys were just gonna laugh when you see the type of shit that I used to do in those videos. How do I fart properly? Fiber. AK Shot 47 said ass or boobs. Changes for me, usually ass. Mystic said, are you a Muslim? No, not really. I was raised as one. This is probably one of the most common questions I get after how tall are you? Like, everyone asks me, I think like 10 people have asked me how tall I am on this, but the second most common question I get is if I'm Muslim or what religion I am. I was raised as a Muslim by my parents, my mum especially, and I just kind of followed it for them. And then as soon as I moved out, I just never really associated with it. It's one of those things like politics where it has zero thoughts in my mind. There's no thoughts regarding it. So you could maybe say I'm semi-Muslim because that's what I've been brought up as, but there's nothing that I think about in this sense anymore. So it's kind of the same with politics. If someone asks me, maybe they will, what's my political beliefs? I genuinely don't even know. Like, I don't think about stuff which is outside of me in this sense. Barnett said, did you go to college? And if so, what did you minor or major in? So in the UK, we go to university and we don't do like minor or major, but I went to university and I did psychology, and I passed. I graduated with 35% as the total score, and a pass rate is 40%. So technically I should have failed, and they just gave me a compensated pass to say like, okay, you're a bit of a retard, but we'll just say that you've got the degree from us just because we can understand that you've been here for a couple of years and you may as well just have it. So psychology. And then someone replied to this guy saying honors psychology. Bora said, if you could only get somebody to do one form of self-improvement, what would it be? Probably the mental health side. Just get onto meditation and gratitude. You don't really need much else past that point. Oh, I like this one. Mini Mo said, Hamza, I'm gonna Adonis emoji react to this. So this guy, Mini Mo, said, Hamza, your brother introduced you to working out. Is he jacked? He's big. I don't have any videos of him or anything, but he's big and he's bulky. He's the type of physique that we don't want. But he's probably like twice as big as me, but it's in a very like bulky sense that he's probably more than 25% body fat, probably like 30% or some shit. But he is like massive in that sense. But he's unfortunately like he doesn't train right or anything. So usually if you're that big, you'd at least have like huge strength, and so you'd be massive underneath that weight. I wouldn't say he's like fat, but I wouldn't say he's like athletic. So he introduced me to working out. He's always had this type of physique, and it's what I call now the anxiety bulk. So if you've got anxiety, if you've got mental health problems, you'll just overeat for the sake that it can protect you. So if you've got anxiety, you find yourself bulking more than you potentially should be. You find yourself eating more. You have this sense that, okay, if I eat more calories, if I get big, then no one will mess with me. And isn't it fucking interesting that that's your reasoning behind your diet is, if I get big, no one will mess with me. That's anxiety, bro. Teriyaki Chocolate Zebra said, if there was only one thing you could teach all your followers and subscribers, what would it be? Improve what you can. Just maximize it. Don't be like black pill, don't be hopeless or anything. Whatever excuses you think you have, maximize what you can, and those excuses will be irrelevant. whatever excuses you have. Yazuki said, what are your plans for the future with the channel, the cult, your career, personal life, relationships? Bro, that's a whole like 10 different videos in one question. What are the plans for the future? Just keep growing in my self-improvement, the channel. What the biggest goal right now with the channel is just to get it bigger. I want to increase the reach and how far this message spreads, because I think my level of value that I give on the videos is high enough that now I can actually start purely thinking about increasing the number of people who are watching. So you're probably going to start seeing me in a bunch of like podcasts with some bigger YouTubers and everything. The cult, keep getting everyone. I'm going to define and specify the plan for the guys who are in my cult, who are like really truly invested in what I say, and we're going to have a very concise plan of action for the guys who are joining. Get onto self-improvement, follow a framework, and then the framework will also get them to get someone else onto self-improvement. So it's like a multi-level marketing strategy. It's like a pyramid scheme where I'm going to give the orders below us, or the suggestions below us, then everyone's going to do the self-improvement habits, and then they're going to tell all their friends, okay, wait, you guys should do the self-improvement habit. And it's literally just going to spread all around the world. Green Tea said, what was the biggest lesson you got from the past 2 months? Past 2 months, I'd say scale. The power of scale. How much success I was getting in this business was child's play compared to the last week, when the scale, the one video popped off, increased the scale of it. Every morning I send an email out to about 8,000 people, and about 1.5 to 2,000 people open that email. About 2,000 people per day see my message. In the last 2 weeks, I've made more money than I did for about 3.5 months before that. Once you, like, if you've got the base level of helpful content, of, you know, the vibe, the value, once the scale goes up, once the numbers, the quantity goes up, the number of people who are tuning in to watch your stuff, it blows up. It still blows my mind when I see the stats on my YouTube analytics and the website where I sell courses and everything. We've got like all the spurgs. This is the problem with Discord. I'm just going to have a little rant here for the boys who are on the Discord. If you're not already on the Discord, scroll down right now. There's a Discord link. This is where you get to ask these questions, and you get a weekly lecture from me and everything. It brings usually some of the more spurgy viewers, let's just say that. And so for literally about 10-15 messages, it's just people having like a random conversation instead of just asking the questions for this video. And so we've had Sam, the video editor, have to like come in with this message, like, questions only from this point forward. Anything else will result in a kick, no warning. So Ami said, what's your daily routine like? Here's my timetable. So that's my current timetable right now. It's the most updated one. I tried the hustle culture shit for you guys, right? So I've tried it, and it honestly felt more unproductive, allowing the entire day to be potentially filled up with work. And so recently, I just got the idea, the impulse, the thought, as I was doing these long hours, and my mind just said, what would Tim Ferriss say about this? And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I committed my life to this plan, that this book that this guy wrote, The 4-Hour Workweek. Keep it there. It's like one of the few books that I've read 3-4 times now. And so just yesterday that I'm recording this, I read through some parts of it, and the general idea that he gave is that when you actually allow yourself to work all day, you find something to do with that time. So you do work all day, but that work that you do is so suboptimal and it's lower, and you end up doing stupid, pointless tasks which don't even really get you any results. So for a couple of weeks, I was doing a lot of work. So let's say I was doing double what you should be. If you know about the term deep work, the book Deep Work, the author suggests to do 4 hours of work, of deep work, of like hard tasks per day. I was going to about 7 to 8, and I literally wasn't even accomplishing much. I kept on at the end of the day thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't get the thing that I wanted to do, and I woke up at 5. I woke up at 5, and like, I don't feel accomplished with the day. What the fuck? And so just yesterday, I came back to the roots. I came back to just following. I'm making this book literally like this is my religion now. It's just following the lifestyle design of this guy, because this is the type of business that I wanted, that he's got, where you work minimal hours, but the work that you do is so concentrated and so focused that it's it's got a higher output, it's got a higher production. So the way that I'm structuring my daily routine, 5 a.m. wake up, immediately work out. I'm straight back to that routine now of wake up, go work out, and I love it. I can't express how happy I am that I've got back to the morning workouts, because for a while I stopped them, and for a while I moved them to like 7 p.m. or 5 p.m. and I'm immediately consistent again. I've got like the beginner's soreness again, where like my chest is literally tight as fuck right now. My legs are tight and everything. I love that feeling. So that's my routine. Amy said, he gave 3 questions here. How has life changed after the dopamine detox and self-improvements? That's a big question, bro. And it's pretty much all the videos I've posted is the answer to this. It's a completely different life. And sometimes I even forget what normal life is like for you guys. Like what you're doing right now, this habit of watching YouTube videos, I don't do it anymore. Like our lives are very, very different now. After a while, you kind of get used to it. Like I'm used to just not playing video games or watching YouTube videos or Netflix or eating junk food or anything. But when I think about the position that you're in, then I get very grateful. That kind of rude, but I get very grateful that I don't live a life like you. Like if you're watching this video right now, we are different in that sense that your consumption of the internet is very different to mine. And I don't think you realize how much there is to gain when you take a step back from just the pointless internet shit. The third question Amy asked is, what are your views on the impact of COVID on everyone's social life and what are your tips? It's weirdly an excuse that people are using. It didn't need to affect your social life. Like in a certain way. Of course you'd have less in-person stuff. But for example, I've become the most popular I've ever been through COVID. Most of it is online, but that's the type of friendship that we have these days anyway. If you haven't found yourself amongst a social circle online through COVID, it wasn't because of COVID that your social circle, your social life was ever negative. It was just because you've never leveled up your social skills. You never actually leveled up the ability to make friends. This was the perfect time. Like everyone's online right now. Everyone's down to like go onto calls with each other. Do it. Everyone, like my tips for that is literally just be, as always, it's always the same tip in terms of making friends. Be the initiator. Have a nice conversation with someone in the Discord. By the way, the Discord link is in the description. Have a nice conversation with someone in the Discord. Private message them and say, like, oh bro, I really like speaking to you. Here's a link to hit, like, let's book a little video call. Let's have a little chat and just kick back. So you make friends, bro. Is no one, like almost no one is gonna do that for you. No, like everyone. The reason why you don't have many friends right now is because you refuse to be the initiator. You want someone else to be the daddy. Like you want someone else to take charge and say, yo, this is what you will do. I will like speak to you. But barely anyone's gonna do that. You're waiting for the fun, confident guy to invite you to do something fun. Or you could just be the fun, confident guy inviting people to do something fun, and you're the one providing value. You're the alpha male of the situation. Everyone loves you, and it's not that difficult. I know it seems kind of weird to do. The practical step is literally to just reach out to someone first. Stop expecting someone to message you first. You message them first. Stop expecting someone to invite you to something. You invite them first. This requires more effort and energy from you. But then the dynamic that it puts you in, the frame and personality that you take from this is worth it. So I'm always the one who invites people to do something. Ski said, off topic, but ever had a spiritual awakening moment / spiritual experience / turnaround moment? Because the way you sound very confident and know what you're talking about. How can we gain that kind of confidence and form strong opinions like yours and follow / stick to them? Not exactly spiritual, although I don't know. I'd say, would you say maybe it was a bit more philosophical for me when I was in the worst periods of my life. It was about May 2020. I was overindulging in instant gratification. And I read the book, The Subtle Art to Not Give a Fuck, or The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I remember that reading this book, almost every paragraph used to feel life-changing, but I just couldn't read that much because I was addicted to fucking weed and to junk food and to video games. So the entire book took me like 6 months to read. And there was a particular point where he said that you were going to have problems no matter what you did. And you just need to choose the problems that you want to solve. I was like, I would love to solve the problems of this, of YouTube, of helping other guys with their self-improvements. I would love to solve the problems of giving advice to people. And so that was one thing. And the next thing was just the spiritual. I don't exactly know what spirituality means. Or would you say meditation is spiritual? I'm not too sure if I am spiritual, but someone could maybe correct me, but I don't think I have the right definition of it, because when I think of spiritual, I think of like the girls who've dyed their hair and wear the necklaces. I don't know, but let's with his proper question is that you sound confident. How can we gain that kind of confidence? So I made the video on how to. This video, I think he asked this question before I made it, but I made a video on how to level up your confidence. Confidence just comes from competency. So I'm not confident in pronouncing words like that, and that's why you kind of saw me break eye contact. I had to like double take it. My body language probably went a little bit closed and stuff. The reason why I seem confident in the things that I do is it's kind of like just repetition. It's just I've made 100 videos now. I know how to talk to the camera now. I'm speaking to younger Hamza right now. That's why I speak like so chill, and I've got like my leg up and everything. I've got big dick energy because I'm speaking to my little bro right now. So I feel confident in that sense because I've spoke to him 100 times on these videos now. The reason why you don't seem confident is because you're young and because you just haven't done that thing to a great extent or a great ability for enough times just yet. Imagine if you took a test, you probably wouldn't feel so confident for it. Imagine if you took the same test a week later, you'd feel more confident. If you took the same test 100 times, you're going to be confident as fuck, aren't you? That's what's missing. And so in a practical sense, it literally just means to be more confident, live more. Just do more stuff. This is why the basic advice that you keep hearing is literally like go outside, do something, get some hobbies, do something, and just keep growing. As you get older, you'll get more confident. Generally 18-year-old, 20-year-old, you're not really supposed to be confident at this age. There's just a couple of guys who are because they just were in the environments where they were getting the feedback loop to get the repetition in a specific area of life. That's why a certain guy can seem very confident in the party. It's not his first party that he's went to, whereas you're the Spurg who, this is the first or the second party you've ever went to. And so you can see a very different level of confidence between you two. Go to 100 parties, now you're going to be that guy. Killjoy asked, how did you deal with loneliness apart from just go out and meet people? How does one find genuine people who he is compatible with? How did you deal with loneliness? It's still something I suffer from in a certain extent. I'm more socially connected than ever, but I feel a sense of loneliness in terms of dating and like female intimacy and love. And I don't really have the answers for this one either. It pains us as humans to feel a sense of loneliness. Just go out and meet people. Honestly, it is the answer to it. And if you can't go out currently and meet people, so I'll give you my specific examples. I'll just be completely honest with you. Almost every night, just before I'm about to go to sleep, I get in my feelings and I think about my exes. I think about the girls that I love, and I get a sense of loneliness, especially at nighttime, because that's the time when I would be unwinding from all of this shit, the business and everything, and I can see what I'm missing in life, and it's not having a partner, a woman sat next to me. It's going to bed without holding my ex or my ex before her. For 2 years straight, I held the same girl in my arms every single night, and I feel deprived to not do that. And so when I connected with Eve, my ex-girlfriend, so I was just talking about my ex before her, but when I connected with Eve, same thing, that's when I feel a sense of completeness, and to not have that gives me that sense of loneliness. And so all I can tell you is the advice you don't really want to take is just go out and meet more people, because for me personally, this feeling of loneliness goes away when I do fulfill it with someone who now, I'm not lonely because I've got them. On a practical sense, if you can't go out and meet someone right now, so practically for me, let's say yesterday it's 9 p.m, I'm about to go to sleep, I'm not going to go meet someone right now. The other thing is just to build this habit to know that getting into your feelings and being sat there listening to sad music and journaling about it isn't exactly productive. And the unsexy answer that's going to help you the most is just stick to the timetable. It's just almost somewhat acknowledge the loneliness, do something about it, level it up, meet people. But when you can't do anything about it right now, induce positive emotions from what you can. Because you generally do get to control your feelings. Like you choose to indulge in loneliness. I know that's somewhat heartless to say, but it's like the emotions you get, you actually make an active choice to feel them. You right now could turn on your happiness. Like you could turn it on and just suddenly feel really happy and grateful for everything around you. But because we're talking about something sad, you won't. And because it would be weird to do so, because I thought, okay, but I could turn it on and I'd be a good role model for the boys, but I thought, no, I'll look crazy because I just talked about something that made me cry, and now if I start smiling, But you see, now 5 seconds later, I'm smiling because I thought of how weird it is. I just control my emotions. I went from feeling lonely and crying and thinking about being fucking deprived from female intimacy to like almost smiling now. So when this happens, do things about it, meet new people. It is fantastic advice, it's just not the sexy answer because it takes a while. But then on the practical sense, when you can't do that, at least just stick to the self-improvement, stick to the timetable, do a bit of journaling, find yourself, be introspective, think about the type of people that you do want to meet and kind of journal about that. How do you find people who you're compatible with? You kind of filter through them naturally. And this is somewhat of like just basic question that requires a basic answer. It's just go do things that you like and you'll find people who also like those things. How did you fix your sleep schedule? There's a couple of steps. No bullshit is set the alarm to the time that you want to wake up. Go to sleep whatever time that you can go to sleep. Wake up, get the fuck out of bed, stop being a pussy, and suffer for a couple of days with this routine. By the third or fourth day, you'll wake up naturally at that time because you will go to sleep much earlier. Do it for literally 3 days or 4 days and your sleep resets. You just have to suffer for a couple of days. Have that mindset that you wake up to that alarm, you get the fuck out of bed, and that's it. That's 33% of the way to change your sleep schedule just done. Do that for 3 more days, 2 more days, and you now naturally wake up at 5 a.m. So I wake up at 5 now, and just 3-4 days ago I was waking up at 8. You have made videos on almost every topic. How do you think of new topics? How do you get out of the YouTubers block? I don't really think I'll get YouTubers block. I might do, but because of how close I am to the boys, you all are giving me 100 ideas every single day. That's like my sneaky reason for having this Discord, is that there's, a bunch of different channels. You guys can speak about your relationship problems. You can speak about you want personal advice, motivation, fitness, everything. I come in here every now and then. I can see the topics that everyone's interested in, and there's my idea right there. Plus, I'm not making sort of general videos. I'm making videos for younger Hamza, so I know exactly what he's going through, and so there isn't exactly like a lack of ideas. Tails asked, best way to get noticed publicly and gain a following. Read the .com Secrets book. Read the trilogy. So there's 3 different books by an author and a entrepreneur and big well-known guy called Russell Brunson. Read the .com Secrets book. He'll tell you better than I can. So Ami asked some more questions and he said, what are some principles you live by in life? I really like that one. Honesty is a big one. I'll just be completely honest, but the first 2 girls that I dated seriously, so not my ex just recently, but the 2 before that, they were liars. Just, if I had to describe them in a sense that I look back to, they lied a lot. And that's why I don't really trust girls now, because I'm always expecting them to lie to me. I'm always expecting them to like delete messages, because that's what the first 2 girls that I fell in love with did. And it was the same book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. There was a page where he said, okay, define your values that you live by. And one of the first things that came up for me was honesty, that I wanted to just be brutally honest. And so from that point, I kept a level of honesty which requires a lot of confidence, and that's what I'm attracted to in people. That a lack of honesty is manipulative, and honesty is confidence, because you need confidence to be honest. That's one of my main principles. And the rest of it is discipline. It's doing the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. It's overcoming like the weak thoughts in your mind and just trying to maximize what you can experience from life. Can you tell us about a stressful scenario in the past and how you handled it? I'm not going to directly tell you about it, but if you haven't already, in the podcast I have with Sam, so you can find it on my channel. It's titled Emotional Podcast with the video editor Sam. We go into some pretty stressful situations and I go into detail there. It makes me cry and everything, so I think you'll probably want to watch that. So Ami's third question in this bit here, he said, what is one thing you do not like about your business and why? I'd say most recently what's been on my mind is the distractions from like the comments and the emails and the Discord messages, because it draws me away from my dopamine detox simple lifestyle and gets me on the computer more. And often I don't know if it's me or if it's how the human brain works, but I'll see, let's say, 50 comments of people saying, oh wow, well done Hamza, well done for 20k, or thank you Hamza, you've changed my life. The one comment which says something negative is the one I overthink about. It's like I'm literally 2 days later, I'm still fucking thinking about this one comment from someone. And so I don't know if that's like normal, if I've got like this obsessive anxious personality, or if you guys feel this, if you get like one bad comment, you kind of remember that one for a while. Like someone says something a little bit mean to you, you remember that a lot more than them saying something a little bit pleasant to you. And so that's one of the things that has been affecting me the most right now. And I think also specifically because I've been growing the business like a lot recently, I've done a lot more, not just, the video popped off, but I've capitalized on that, and I made like more than $5,000 in the last 2 weeks because of this. And I've had to, learn about sales and email marketing. And now that I'm officially selling a product, I am seeing a different side, not a different side, but I am seeing a different kind of person come to light in my audience, who I define as like young, broken, and entitled. And I'm getting emails from these guys, I'm getting messages from these guys where they're like, you cancelled the free coaching. Why don't you do it? Like, I want to do a one-to-one coaching with you. Why? Maybe, I'm getting offensive and shit, but whatever. I don't give a fuck about offending these type of people. But when you sell something on a platform like YouTube, people just immediately start disliking you for it without realizing. Like one of the dumbasses in this Discord, I hate these people, but one of the dumbasses wrote, oh, I dislike Hamza's new video, seems like a cash grab. 20 seconds of the video, I'm talking about a product that you can buy. 20 seconds. I've got 100 free videos on my channel in 20 seconds, and he said I seem ignorant for it. I seem like I'm grabbing money for it. 20 seconds, bro. Like, I've put hundreds of hours into this business, and not even into the business side, because this has only really been a business over the last few months. I put out hundreds of hours into just making videos as helpful as possible. I'd like to make money from that. Like, I've had a negative view of money and stuff, but now I understand that when you get money, you can just reinvest it and you can grow the business even further. And I am starting to see like a bunch of these younger guys who just have this very entitled attitude where they're annoyed that they're not getting this stuff for free. And I have to constantly get reassurance from someone like Sam and a couple of the boys, and I have to constantly ask them, like, am I doing this wrong? Am I like actually grabbing money? Am I like, and they have, they're always telling me like, no, like you've made 100 good videos, and like you need to be paid about for this stuff too. And so like broke people who weren't going to spend anything are obviously going to complain. And kind of off topic, but it did help when there is a YouTuber called Healthy Gamer GG, and he got recommended to me, and I wanted to see some of his videos based on dopamine detox, and he does somewhat similar stuff to me where he makes videos for like little instant gratification spurgs who spend all their time on like Twitch and YouTube. And he's making a mental health course. It's on the pre-order stage right now. It's $50. Like, it's literally $50. That's this course, now that I've got understandings of courses and sales, this course should be about $497. He's selling it for $50. So I bought it straight away because, one, I want to learn just mental health for myself, and two, I'm also going to see his business funnels and everything. And I saw the video where he's talking about the course, and I scrolled down the comments, and there's so many people saying like, I can't believe you put this behind a paywall, like greedy and all this. And I'm like, that's this guy has gave his fucking life for the last few years to help you, like, you fucking ungrateful, entitled person. And now he's selling a premium product that you could afford in 2 days, let's say 3 days of work. Even if you're in fucking India, 1 week of work, you can say, like, if it's worth that much to you, and you truly trust this guy and you like this guy, then you can save up and buy it. But because it's not free, because he didn't give it for free, people are like disrespecting this guy. And that's when I saw that, and I was like, oh, okay, at least it's not just to me. There's a certain type of person who just gets pissed off that everything isn't free for them. And that's at least one of like the most annoying negative things in my mind recently about my business, is that I'm coming across these people. None of these guys are like part of the cult. None of these guys are like my boys or anything. Let's put it that way. Jonah asked a very good question. He said, do you still miss things like parties, weed, going out, and social media while on the dopamine detox? I feel like those all have lots of benefits and can improve your life, but they are hard to use properly, especially if you have bad impulse control. I have very bad impulse control, so I'll get you there. Do I miss things like parties? Yeah. So I went to my first party a couple of weeks ago, first party in like an entire year. And it felt awesome to be back in that social environment again, especially after taking time away from it and leveling up. Like, maybe it's my big fat ego or something, but walking in there, like, I immediately felt like a high value, like, kind of cringe, but like high value man. Like, I've got the most muscle and confidence and all this shit. So I felt good about that. And I was like, I started craving it more. I was like, I'd love to do stuff like that more often. Weed, it's hard to, like, weed is an addiction for me, and it's hard to kind of speak about it because it's kind of like, it kind of destroyed my life in a certain sense, or I used it to destroy my life. Let's say that, like, I used it wrong, but it is the drug that you do find yourself just smoking every single day. And so I don't exactly miss it. Plus I have smoked, like, I'll be completely honest, I have smoked almost like a fair amount over the last like couple of, not like the last month or two, but like, let's say from the start of the year, for a couple of months I smoked like once a week or so, which is like a fair amount. And now I just haven't smoked for like, since this party that I went to, so about 1.5 months now. Oh, when did I go to that party? A couple of weeks ago, something like that, yeah. So I don't really miss weed, going out, social media, I don't miss that. I miss some of the results that come from social media, which is that, you know, you DM a girl and you meet her and you sleep with her and stuff, but not really using social media. Going out is kind of the same as parties, I guess, but I do miss like the social life, and I am going to start that back up soon. I kind of have a hard balance with that, where although I want to do those things, like be social and meet people, even meet girls, I often stop myself from doing that because I just counteract it with the fact that it takes time and money, and I'd rather just have time and money for my business to just keep reinvesting in itself. But then I did this sort of realization, and I said, but those are the parts of life that I do want to go and enjoy, and to not do that just to save like £30 on this night out or something, there is like a return on investment to doing those things, with how it makes you feel, with it gives you ideas for these videos and everything. So that's something as well. So I do miss them. But if, for example, I got into the environment where I was invited to a party every week, honestly, like, I probably would go to it every single week, and it would get too out of control. If I made a new best friend who was a stoner, I'd probably start smoking more. Like, I have a very bad impulse control, and so it is easier for me to just not have the opportunity to do it whilst I'm focusing on something greater than myself. Sean Hardy, one of the mods of the Discord, said, why aren't you advertising on sites like TikTok and Instagram, seeing as they're filled with instant gratification addicts, and will you ever? I've been recommended that a fair amount of times, and it is a good idea in terms of business, but honestly it's not good for my personal life, because I just don't want to be on those sites. And you have to be on those sites. You have to, it's not like everyone thinks it's easy, like, oh, you know, just advertise on one of those sites, bro. That's not how it works. You have to know how the site works. You have to like know the culture. The reason why I'm so good on YouTube, the reason why you feel like I'm so relatable and I'm speaking to you and I'm so different from the YouTubers, is because I know YouTube. I was brought up on YouTube. I don't know TikTok. I don't know how the fuck you do like the little fucking dances that all these little dumbass kids are fucking doing. I kind of hit that though. But I don't know these fucking dances that these kids are doing. Instagram is, I don't think Instagram's valuable in any sense for businesses personally. I think that it's just a cope that people have. So will I ever, if I had some kind of assistant who was doing it, and in this case it wouldn't be me doing it, but like my brand would be on it potentially, but I'm not purposely going to go on those apps to learn and to make content for them and shit, do you know what I mean? And then you can pay for it. For example, I could pay someone, I could pay a TikTok girl or some Instagram guy to post my video saying, okay, come to my YouTube, or give me your email address. But it's like, why would I do that when I just do it on YouTube anyway? And I'm not really interested in paying for traffic anyway. I potentially would do that, but when I get an expert on TikTok or Instagram. Jax1010 asked, are you self-educated or did you get some type of formal training? I'm purely self-educated. I wouldn't say that any of the formal education that I've had has been helpful in this sense, because my education began after I left the education system. Zafar asked, what are your thoughts on drinking and do you still do it? I do it in social slash sexual situations. So if I'm meeting a girl from a dating app, then I'll meet her for drinks, always. Like, if you're meeting a girl, at least casually, always make it revolve around alcohol. If you are doing that, if you're like in that lifestyle, and if you're okay with that religiously and stuff. And I'll never drink by myself. I find that fucking disgusting how people literally would just have alcohol instead of tea right now. I literally will only drink if, for example, I'm meeting a girl, or maybe in some kind of male social, but to be honest, I haven't even done that. So the times that I've drank over the last year has either been with girls that I've met from Tinder or the one party that I went to. So it's very like infrequent. Tag on Music asked, your process / tips of initiating conversation with strangers. So initiating conversation is my general social advice. It's, if you don't have friends, it's because you haven't initiated conversation with enough people. So I was about to skip this question until I saw that he's worded it in a nicer way, which is how to actually go about the initial conversation. Just mutual interest. And honestly, mutual interest can be boiled down to just both of you enjoying the view or the current park that you're in. It's, most people try and overthink these. Like, you literally going up and saying something stupid has infinitely more chances of you meeting your friend, like a new friend or even a girl, than it does you just walking past them and saying nothing. Just walk up and say something stupid, and you still got more of a chance making friends than not saying anything at all. And if you're just starting off doing this, I want you to take the idea that it's a skill that you just have a low level in, and so it's gonna be a little bit difficult for you. But the more you do it, the more experience you gain in this skill, just like we do in video games. And so you're gonna level this up. Now, I probably will have a video already uploaded on my channel, which is kind of a different video. You may have seen it, which is a lecture. So I, on Discord, on where I'm reading these questions, I do lectures every Wednesday, and I did a lecture on managing friendships. So that is on my channel right now. You can watch the full thing, and I go into detail on this. I don't think Tagon was able to make that lecture. Your Simple asked, Hamza, should I work out before or before breakfast? So the science says that if you work out after you eat, it will be generally a better workout, because if you eat carbs beforehand, good carbs, not the stupid shit you see on fitness YouTubers eat, like Cocoa Pops or something, good carbs like wholemeal bread and shit, then eating after you eat will make you stronger and make you more muscle. But the difference isn't that big, and so it always just boils down to which one are you going to be more consistent in. For me personally, I'll wake up, I have a scoop of protein, which is somewhat I'm training in a fasted state because I haven't had any carbs or fats. I have one scoop of protein with water, and then I go train, and then I eat my meal after that. Cookie asked, how tall am I? I'm 6'1". What made you start your self-improvement journey? What thought process motivated you at first to take such big steps? So Super asked that question. That's a good question. What made me start my self-improvement journey? So at first, my self-improvement journey started with fitness. It started with my body transformation when I was about 17. You guys know that story, but specifically let's say the big self-improvements from last year. I was at rock bottom. I lived the instant gratification life, and I realized I dove deep into it. I started seeing videos about dopamine detox and everything, and so I thought, okay, for 2 weeks I'm going to do the opposite of a dopamine detox, where I'm going to purposely do as much of the bad habits as possible before I go on to a detox. And so for 2 weeks I did all the bad habits imaginable. I stayed up late till like 4 a.m, 5 a.m. and shit, just doing stupid shit. And guess what happened? I hated my life. I literally hated it. And it was like, it became a crutch. It became an addiction. It became somewhat hard to pull myself away from that lifestyle. So I experienced the very severe version of the anti-dopamine detox. And I was like, I'm never going back to that. And I'm glad that I experienced that, because now I have such a push away from that type of lifestyle, and now I'm so committed to self-improvements. Scary Bastard asked, would you rather have to fight a chicken to death every time you enter the car, or fight a gorilla to death once a year? If you fight the gorilla, you get a sword. Well, 100% the gorilla, bro. That would be a sick fight. That'd literally be like one of the most fulfilling things you could. Like, the chicken is just a nuisance. Like, you have to grab that shit and it keeps like spazzing out. You can feel its bones crunching in your hands. But the gorilla is like, that's like some motivational shit right there. So the number one obstacle in regards to your learning curve on YouTube, nothing strikes to mind. It's all been like a just standard learning curve, and that there's not been like one big obstacle. It's just learning to speak better on camera, learning to do all the technical stuff with this shit. It's probably like just the technical stuff, because I'm not into technology anymore, and so often I've got like the boomer personality where I don't know how to like do things with files or anything. We have a question from Vulcan. Who did you have to cut out of your life along your self-improvement journey? If so, was it difficult? How does one know when to cut someone out of their life? So my second girlfriend, my ex before my current ex, the one who I was with whilst I was in the instant gratification period, that's who I had to cut out. So we were living like the instant gratification life. We were just binge eating snacks, smoking weed and shit. And I debated wanting to leave that relationship and the apartment that we were living in for what, 6 months, 9 months, like almost the entire, yeah, about 9 months, probably even a little bit longer than that. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because I literally had to contemplate it for like I couldn't take action on it. I think it was hard because I also didn't have a good relationship with my family at the time as well. So the way to leave her was to come back here, and it was two forces of friction where leaving her would be hard because I've got the attachment, I've got love for her and everything, and I've done everything imaginable, like all day, every day with her for 2 years. And so to even wake up by myself, to even wash my hands by myself, literally, like, think about that. I had for about a year and a half, I didn't wash my hands by myself. Like, she'd always be stood next to me. We came in from buying food or something, we'd go wash our hands together. For like a year and a half, I didn't have a piss by myself, bro, because she's on the toilet and I'm pissing in the sink. So it was very difficult to let go of that attachment, and it felt somewhat impossible up until I fixed my relationship with my family, and then I came back home, tried it out for a couple of days, and then I just made the big decision. How do you know when to cut someone out of your life? You know. You're just being a pussy, you're just kind of holding off, but you know it. Joe Hid, Joe Star. If you did, do you see Caucasian/white women as the more desirable women? Since I know there was a stigma around your culture and skin color as it is. So, in general, yeah, brown men do value white girls the most, and I probably do. But then I also, it's kind of like a selection bias. Like this, I live in the UK. There's 90-something% white girls around me. I do have a sense of like being off put with Asian, like my type of Asian girls, and I can't exactly put my finger on it, but something like I'm not drawn to them as much right now. But for example, like I've been around the races, and I don't think like I really think, oh my god, a white girl. Like I don't really think that. It's just kind of, is she attractive? Am I attracted to her? Do I like her? That's it. 16 asked, how big is it, with a bunch of emojis. I won't answer that, but I will show you a little message and you can just judge by yourself. The Freaky Mamba asked, how tall are you? I'm 6'1", bro, relax. How did you get rid of / reduce dark circles under your eyes? No late nights, and I think specifically late nights on your phone or on your screen is what causes dark circles, and I don't do, like, late nights for me is about 9:30, and I don't use technology that much, especially near the nighttime. Luciano Lorgin said, have you ever been stuck in an existential crisis, maybe for a long period of time, and how did you get out of that? Having a purpose is very hard if you feel like there's no point. Yes, absolutely. And you just kind of reminded me that this was a period of my life for a while. So I graduated from university, and as I said, I got 35% in my degree, which is technically like a fail, but they just gave me a compensated pass. I graduate, and now what? I went from being a student to just being unemployed, and I have this degree that I've worked for the past 4 years, and it doesn't get me any job or there's nothing there. So I apply for jobs, and the only ones that I'm actually qualified for are the same jobs that I was qualified for before I even went to university. And so I start working jobs that I don't like. I go on like 10 different like my mind, like, usually if I go for an interview, not even usually, if I go for an interview, I'm getting the job. Like, they offer me the job there and then in the interview, always. Just always. For about 10-15 interviews, it didn't happen. My soul was crushed. I wasn't the same type of guy going into these. I'm applying for these jobs and not even getting jobs that are below me, quite frankly. And I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have like anything. I didn't have like a mission or anything to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I remember at one point calling my mum and literally crying about it and everything. And you know, everyone's telling me like, oh, it'll work out, you'll find it. And so I just kind of oddly just drifted through life for a year or something, or even kind of longer, because I only really defined my purpose about 9 months ago, something like that. Yeah, about 9 months, less than a year ago, because even when I moved back home in May 2020, I didn't have a purpose or anything. I just kind of came back and just kind of, you know, lived here knowing that, okay, self-improvement, start improving yourself, but I didn't have a proper purpose. The existential crisis, I think, will hit a lot of the guys watching this, especially around age 20, age 22. You come out of the education system, you realize those motherfuckers didn't prepare you for anything, unless if you go for the STEM degree, then you're fine. But if you don't go for a STEM degree and you realize that you're now fucked for life because you've spent your entire life preparing for a shitty job, but you don't even want that job anyway, and you realize like there's someone who's making more than your monthly income in overnight, it kind of leaves you in like a feeling of a pointless life. And that's what I was feeling. I remember feeling like that for a while, and the advice I'd give to someone like that is that you specifically practically have to put in some hours into this. Like, you practically sit down for 3 hours every single day saying, okay, I'm currently going through an existential crisis, it feels pointless, what should I do, what would make my life have a purpose? Because I didn't do that. Instead of doing this, instead of facing the existential crisis, I'd run away from it with weed and with video games and with just all the bad habits. We don't need to go into that much, but when I started facing this and I started reading good books and I started taking courses and everything, please don't ask me which ones. If you watch my videos, you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. If you haven't, you can literally find me talk about every course, every book that I've ever mentioned 100 different times. But I'm taking these books and courses, and slowly and surely I'm starting to get an idea of, okay, what actually makes people happy. I had to go back to the baseline and truly find out what makes humans happy, because that's not a class that you've ever had before. You've been told, okay, good job, good grades, that's bullshit. That doesn't make someone happy. That doesn't make someone fulfilled at all. Good marriage is bullshit. None of that stuff actually makes humans happy. It's like we've got the research for it. The stuff that makes people happy, you've never once gotten a lesson for in school. So I had to be a school kid again after I graduated and start from scratch. And that's where the purpose started coming from. Because one, I learned what makes people happy, so I started doing it for myself. And two, I was like, okay, I could just teach this to other people, and that could be my purpose in life. There we go. That's how I got out of the existential crisis. But what I've just said really has like toned that down. Ackman said, everyone talks about taking care of your mental health, but nobody never talks about how. Yes, they do. I tell you how in every fucking video that I make, bro. You're just not paying attention. Maddie said, are you Indian? Just asking. Nah, I'm Pakistani. The Law said, how many kills, brackets, hookups do you have? Probably about 40 something. XXZY said, favorite porno. I used to like the ones where just a normal porno wasn't enough and you needed like the montage with like the hyper beats, and it's like 50 different videos like played with the beat and shit, like ultra, like you'd just be like sat there with like ultra fucking dopamine. Like can you have more than one purpose? Yeah, why not? Pravnav said, opinion on psychedelics. Never done them myself. Seem interested. I probably would try them. Trappy asked, how do you instantly cut people off when you don't want them in your life? Personally, I've never instantly cut anyone off. It takes me a while to cut someone off. Mia1A said, will you accept sponsors when they come? Yeah, probably will. Hype Foon asked, where do you see yourself in 3 to 4 years time? Because he saw the biggest changes when he was my age. Where do I see myself in 3 to 4 years time? So I'll be about 28. So I do have like a 5-year plan that I'm following, and I do expect to be pretty successful in the conventional standards of wealth by then. And I expect to have like already reached the natural limit of my body, be almost like a somewhat of a professional in a lot of the things that I do. 4 years, probably because of how much my wealth is increasing, like I probably wouldn't be living at home, although like I would feel okay with that. But mostly I'd say one of the biggest things, like the biggest kind of selfish personal goal that I've got is like following the 4-hour work week and doing like the digital nomad lifestyle. Like I'd love to just, what I've got right now as this is my work, this is my business, to take this all around the world with me. So for the next 3 years, 4 years, if I get to experience that in a bunch of different countries and go meet a bunch of the boys and everything and go sleep in the same bed with you boys, that'd be really nice. Riley had a very good question. I'm going to Adonis emoji react that. You've helped a lot of people. What is most people's biggest problem? Mindset. It's always mindset. It's either mental health specifically, or it's the mindset that causes mental health to be stuck. So most people's biggest problem, everyone thinks it's me no money, me fat, me no friend. It's not. The reason, that's like the symptom. Whatever's happening in real life is the symptom of your problem, and the problem is always just in your brain. Because where else can the problem be? It's in your brain. Unless your current problem is like cancer or something. Okay, it's in your body. But generally, your problems are always in your brain. The most common problem and the biggest problem is always just your mind, whether it's your mental health because you've got depression or anxiety, or it's just your mindset, your inexperience to know how the world works in a certain sense. So the reason why you've struggled going to the gym is because no one before has told you, or your mind hasn't generated the thought to say, oh yeah, go to the gym when you don't feel like it. There you go. Like that, now you've overcome that problem. So the biggest problem by far is just people's mindset. That's why I drill into it a lot on my channel. Yeah, alright, we're gonna call that a day. If you like this video, then join the Discord. The link is in the description. You get so much extra stuff with me. You get literally every Wednesday, like I come online on it and we do a lecture where I just teach you stuff, like some in-depth stuff for like an hour and a half, and you usually will not see that on YouTube. The Discord link is in the description. Scroll down right now, click on the link, join the Discord, you know the deal. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.